Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome back to my channel. In my previous video, we took a deep dive into customizing your command prompt for PowerShell and Bash using OhmyPosh. However, many of you reached out with questions on how to take it a step further, how to supercharge your productivity using the command line. And that's why we are here today. In this video, I'm going to share with you a set of shortcuts that I use daily for the command line prompt and Windows terminal. These shortcuts can drastically improve your efficiency and speed. By the end of this video, you will be equipped with a powerful toolkit of command line shortcuts and knowledge ready to enhance your productivity and workflow like never before. If you like this content and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Just a note, I use Windows Terminal as my primary command line interface, which I highly recommend. It is the best and free terminal that comes with Windows 11 by default and easy to install if you don't have it. Now, let's dive into the world of command line productivity, starting with shortcuts of PSReadLine module. I switched to my terminal, and the first thing that I wanted to show you is all about completion. In most of the time, I use completion for completing a path. For example, if I want to go to C drive and my users folder, then I can type, for example, cd and then C column and backslash. And then I can type, for example, U and press tab on my keyboard, and then it will autocomplete the path because starting with the U is only one folder. And then I can start typing again my first letter of my user, and then I press tab, and you see now it suggests me to go to all users folder, which I don't really want. And then I press again tab, and now it suggests me to have my user. So as we can see, we can press tab to see different completion if there are multiple choices. And again, if I go, for example, to app data, and then local programs, and then I don't know which program I want to type because maybe I forgot the name. Yeah, so I can press tab and it will traverse through all the folders that it has there, and it can traverse in both directions. Yeah, so it can go forward and backwards. For example, right now I'm on, it suggests me to complete my path with OhmyPosh. If I press again tab, it goes to common. If I want to return back to my previous completion, I can press shift tab and then I go back to OhmyPosh. If I want to go forward, I just press tab. Yeah, so this is how you can move forward and backwards in the completions. Another approach that you can take is to just press Ctrl space on my keyboard, and then, as you can see, it shows me all the possibilities of the completion. Yeah, so because I have only 3 folders in that particular folder, but okay, so maybe let's see if we have more, like for example in the local, maybe I have more, so I press Ctrl space again, and now you see there is much more folders to select from. So I can actually select what I want using my arrows on the keyboard, and then I select what I want and I press enter. But it's not limited only for paths. It also can complete the commands. Like for example, if I type doc and then I press tab, it goes to documents, to Docker Compose, to Docker credentials, ERC login. If I want to see more, I just press Ctrl space, and then I can see Docker Compose and Docker. So it can suggest you not only the paths, but also the commands. And sometimes, but I can't say that I use it very often, yeah, it can autocomplete even the PowerShell commands. Like, for example, if I do get -i, and then I press Ctrl space, then you see it suggests me the all PowerShell commands that maybe I want to use, for example, get item. Yeah, so and so for some commands that has help inside, it just provides me also the small help that can maybe be useful for me as well. This is it with autocompletion. So the next thing that I want to show you is my favorite actually, because I use it a lot of times a day. So, and this is about searching in your history of commands. So as maybe you know, when you type commands inside your terminal, all these commands are stored in a text file. Because of that, you can search for some commands and you can execute the search pressing Ctrl R on your keyboard. So if I press Ctrl R, it asks me what I want to search. For example, I do remember that I typed something with brie, and I type brie. So right now I see it says cd brie. Actually, it's not something that I want because I want to find out the Docker command with brie. So it means that it searches for the last command that you type, and then when you press Ctrl R again, it searches backwards in your history. So I can press Ctrl R, Ctrl R, Ctrl R, Ctrl R, Ctrl R until I found the command that I really need. For example, in my case, it's docker run, blah, blah, blah. So as you can see, it searches everywhere. If the word brie, in my case, will be seen in any part of the command, then this command can be found. Other thing that, for example, if you press again Ctrl R, but you just realize that you missed the command, you can move forward in your search and history by pressing Ctrl S on your keyboard. So as you can see, I press Ctrl R, it's go back in my history, and it's a push command, Docker push command. And if I press Ctrl S command, then I move forward in my history again. And again, if I press Ctrl R, I go back to my push command. And if I press Ctrl S, it starts searching forward, and then I can move to the docker run command. Again, I can press Ctrl S multiple times to move forwards, or Ctrl R multiple times to move backwards. I can say it's very powerful, and it's really save time. Another shortcut that I want to mention as well is the F2 shortcut. Yeah, so and F2 allow us to switch between different views for prediction. Like for example, if I type something like Docker, right now you see I'm in inline mode for prediction. So that's why it suggests me that I want to type Docker ps-a. But I prefer to have list view of predictions, and to move from the inline prediction mode to the list view mode, I can press F2 on my keyboard, and then you see it's changed to the list view with the commands starting from the most recent to least recent command. And you can use again arrows up down to move back and forth within those commands to select what you really want to type. And again, right now, if I type Docker, then you see I'm always in the list view. If I press F2, then it switched to inline view, where I can also traverse through all these predictions back and forth using the F8 and Shift F8. So if I press F8 now, it says Docker ps-a. If I press F8 again, it go back again in history. If I press F8 again, it go back in history. If I press Shift F8, it go forward in history. And if I press again Shift F8, it returns back to initial command. Yeah. So, and I can actually choose what I really want to type, just pressing F8 to be able to find the command, or Shift F8. But as I said to you, I really like the list view more. So I press F2, and right now if I type something like Docker, then I see the list of prediction, and then I go and select what command I really like. Another set of very easy but powerful shortcuts in the command prompt is shortcuts for copy-paste. You of course know it, yeah, the Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. For example, if I type something like test and then I select it, yeah, using the shift on my keyboard, and then I use Ctrl-C, and then, for example, I can go to the end of the line and I press Ctrl-V, then it will of course insert that text that I copied. But you are not limited in command prompt with Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V only. For example, you can use Ctrl-Insert and Shift-Insert, the same as Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, nothing strange. But sometimes in command line, you need to copy something from the screen and place it to your command. Like for example, I do docker images, and I see some image, and then I want to do docker, for example, push, and then I don't want to type this ein Markov brie, blah, blah, blah. What I can do, I can select it with my mouse, and then I press the right mouse button. If I press the right mouse button, it's a copy, yeah? And pressing the right mouse button again, it will just place this text. So I press it multiple times, yeah. But again, so you can press one time or multiple times, whatever it's needed, yeah. So if you press right mouse button on your mouse, then you just place the copied text. Another very good command, like for example, if I again do docker and then I place some text, sometimes you are in the middle of the line inside the command line, or you at the end of the line and you want to remove all this line. Yeah, of course you can select, for example, with the shift home, select everything and then press delete on your keyboard, but it's a lot of combinations, yeah, so it's just easier to just press escape on your keyboard. So whatever you stay within the line, you just press escape and the line disappears. So it's very easy, but again, it's allow you to save time. And the last thing that I wanted to show you for the command line commands, because I will move to the Windows terminal shortcuts in a second. I just want to show you the shortcut that really save time also, because how you can clear the screen. Yeah, you can use the CLS, yeah, or you can use clear, but again, it's some kind of typing, yeah, 3 or 5 letters, but it's much easier to just press Ctrl L on your keyboard and then everything will disappear. Again, time server. This is it for the PSReadLine module shortcuts, but what I wanted to mention at the end of that you can actually see all the commands, all the functions, and also all the keys that map to these functions. And you can do this with just typing the command get PSReadLine key handler bound and unbound. So this is the command. And as you can see, it has a huge list of those commands. Yeah, so let's see the Ctrl V. This is the shortcut, and this is bound to the function paste. The same for example, this is the history function. Yeah, this is exactly what I told you previously about F8, shift F8. Yeah, so and it's mapped to the function like history search backwards, history search forward. And you can find all the shortcuts and all the functions that you can actually use within the PSReadLine module. And also you can, if you want, yeah, of course, if you want, you can override any of these particular keys or shortcuts to define what you really want to press to do one or another function. And to override it, we use set command. So it just set PSReadLine key handler command. When you provide a key, for example, in my case, I provide the up arrow and the function history search backward. For example, if I execute this command, so I actually map my up arrow, so actually arrow up on my keyboard, to the history search backward. So right now I'm in the inline view and I do, for example, doc, and I press the arrow up on my keyboard. Then you see I can move from the history the same as I can press F8, for example, on my keyboard. So now I can press F8 or arrow up. Yeah, it's, for example, let's go back and see. It is over here. So it's F8, you see, map to history search backward, as well as up arrow map to history search backward. The only thing that you need to know that if you map your own key combinations or shortcuts to the function, then it will only work for this particular terminal. So if I go, for example, if I open my new terminal, and again, if I press arrow up now, then you see it just overwrite with the previous command. So my arrow up key doesn't work anymore. So if you want to keep it, then of course, as in my previous video, you need to go to your PowerShell profile file and set this command. I would like to remind you, it's a set PSReadLine handler command within your profile file, and then each time when the PowerShell starts, this command will be applied. Now I want to talk about the Windows terminal shortcuts. The first thing, but very powerful, it's how we can find any information within our console. So let's execute the get PSReadLine handler commands just to have some text here. Yeah, so again, this is the huge amount of text that we have. And for example, I want to search something. Like for example, I want to search for next suggestion. Yeah, so I don't want to read all of it. Yeah, so just to find it, I just press on my keyboard Ctrl-Shift-F, and as you can see, the search appears over here, and I want to search for next suggestion, and I just type inside the find for the next suggestion. Yeah, I can even not complete the phrase, and you see it's immediately search for next suggestion. It's good, yeah, so it's very powerful and save a lot of time. Just Ctrl-Shift-F. And then of course you can close. Yeah, you can again press Ctrl-Shift-F, and then you can search up, you can search down. Yeah, so it's up to you. The next powerful thing about the Windows terminal that you can actually increase and decrease the size of the font. So for example, if you press Ctrl+ on your keyboard, then the font will be increased. Yeah, so for a ridiculous amount. And then if you press the Ctrl- on your keyboard, then the size of the font will be decreased. The same thing you can achieve by pressing and holding the Ctrl, and then you can scroll your mouse down for zoom out, and scroll your mouse up to zoom in. That's mainly it. One of the most powerful things for Windows Terminal is ability to work with multiple tabs. So as you can see right now, I have only one tab, but I can actually open my Ubuntu, and you see I can have two tabs. So this one PowerShell, this one Ubuntu. Normally, when I work with multiple tabs, I always give a name. For example, this is my apps. I don't know, I work with some app. Yeah, so this is my Ubuntu, and this is my, for example, I don't know, Docker, something like this. Yeah, so here I'm working with Docker. This is the apps. And then, of course, it's very easy to switch between the tabs. But sometimes you don't want to use mouse, yeah, and you want to use the keyboard. And for the keyboard, the first shortcut that I want to tell you is Ctrl-Shift-Space. So if you type the Ctrl-Shift-Space, then you see it's immediately open the window to open a new tab. And then you can say, for example, I want to open the Ubuntu. Then again, you can press Ctrl-Shift-Space, and then you can say, I want to open PowerShell. So this is kind of time saver, so you don't need to switch to mouse and open it and again switch to your keyboard. Sometimes we also need to switch between multiple tabs, and again, it's easy to do on using the mouse, of course, yeah, but sometimes it's easier to do on keyboard. You just press Ctrl-Tab on your keyboard, and then you switch to the next one. Yeah, so if you press it multiple times, then you switch in a round, in a cycle. Yeah, so in a loop. So but you can also press Ctrl-Tab, and holding Ctrl, you will be able to see the list of all the tabs open, and then you can use arrow up and arrow down on your keyboard just to move between the tabs, and then you press enter on the tab that you want to have. So switching back to the PowerShell, and another very powerful functionality or feature of the Windows Terminal is the possibility to have multiple panels or panes, and you can place multiple terminals in one screen. So let's see how it works. For example, I want to split my particular panel or pane horizontally. I press on my keyboard Alt-Shift-, and now you see I have two terminals. So I can say, for example, ls here, ls there, and they are just separated terminals. At the same time, I can also split not only vertical, but I can also split horizontally if I press Alt, Shift, and plus on my keyboard. So then I will have the vertical splitting tab. So right now we have three panes. Yeah, so it's just this one, and this one, and we can move from one pane to another pane just by mouse. Yeah, so we can click here or click there or click there. You see the blue highlights the active pane. At the same time, you can do it on the keyboard, very easy. You just press Alt and hold it and use your arrows on your keyboard just to move up, for example, or to bottom, or to the left, or to the right. So you can actually control where you want to be. Other thing that you can resize your panes, so or panels. To resize, you need to press Alt, Shift, and then arrows. Yeah, so for example, I press Alt, Shift, and arrow right to move my current focused pane bigger, or left to make it smaller. I can also change size not only vertically but also horizontally. Yeah, so if I press Alt Shift up, then it will be growing vertically, or down, it will be decreased vertically. Sometimes, for example, I have 3 panes right now on my screen, but I don't want to have the third one. I want to keep only 2. And to do that, again, I just move to the pane that I want to close, and then I press Ctrl-Shift-W. And then the pane will be closed. Again, if I press Ctrl-Shift-W, this pane will be closed, and I only have 1 pane. Sometimes you want to open not the same pane, because if I just press Alt-Shift plus or Alt-Shift minus to split vertically or horizontally, I will open the same terminal, the same PowerShell. But sometimes, for example, I want to place the Ubuntu there. So I want to have the Windows shell, and then I want to have Ubuntu. To achieve this, I need to open New Tab drop-down menu, and then I just press Alt and hold it, and then I select what I want to open, for example, Ubuntu. So now I have my Windows pane and my Ubuntu pane over here. Yeah, so for example, ls. Yeah, see, this is not Windows anymore. You can also change the position of this pane. Right now it's vertical, but if you want to move it to horizontal to have, for example, more space to see inside the commands and etc., you can do this by using the command palette. So to open the command palette, you need to press Ctrl-Shift-P on your keyboard, and then you search for toggle. And this is the toggle pane split orientation. Yeah, so it will toggle between the vertical and horizontal. And if I click on it, then you see right now I have panels that split it vertically. If again I press Ctrl-Shift-P on my keyboard, then you can find here all the commands or all the functions that Windows Terminal has with actually the shortcuts. Yeah, so for example, Alt down, Alt left, Alt right, to move focus down, or focus left, and focus right. Yeah, so you can find all the shortcuts over there as well. And that wraps up our deep dive into command line shortcuts. Remember, mastering these shortcuts can truly streamline your workflow and take your efficiency to the next level. So give them a try and see the difference for yourself. Now, I want to know from you, what's your favorite shortcut that you use in Terminal daily? Is there a specific command line topic or issue you would like me to cover in a future video? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time, and as always, be curious, learn from bugs, and keep coding.